And members, this is a rather lengthy looking amendment. It's got a lot of pages to it. A lot of it is just cross-referencing into different areas of law. And this is what we're doing here. This is a very simple concept that I'd like to try to offer here as a way to help solve a problem. And Senator Betzold, I know that you've been working diligently with members of the Commission to try to solve some problems that the pension funds have. We understand that. This is a difficult problem, and it's not just a problem that we face in Minnesota, it's being faced across the country. And the problem really gets to the structure of these plans, these retirement plans. They are not economically sustainable. All of us know this. All of us know this. We've read the newspapers, we've seen the stories, you can go out online, you can find all kinds of stories that talk about the trouble that pension funds are in, whether they're public or private. And the fact is there's very, very few private pension funds in existence anymore. And it is because they are economically unsustainable. We are here today. We've got a bill, Senator Betzold, that you've worked on to try to say we have got to recognize the obligations that we have made. And I agree with you. We make obligations to people. We make a promise. We need to keep that promise. However, we cannot continue to make promises that we are not able to keep. And so, members, what my amendment is doing is, in essence, if you look on page 7, section 4 of the bill, that's where the heart of the issue here is in my amendment. It is simply saying that every state employee who is hired after July 1st of this year is not going to be in the current pension program, but in a defined contribution program. It's setting a date and a cutoff and saying future employees, new employees coming into the state employment are not going to be in these defined benefit plans anymore. We're going to live up to the obligations that we have. People who have been working for the state or other public employees and they have a pension, we're going to say we're going to keep our commitment to fund those things. But we are not going to continue to build this unsustainable obligation into the future. At some point we are going to have to stop. And so my amendment very simply is saying let's do that. Let's put this in place today. This is the right time to do it. If we don't do it today, we'll be back here in 2 years or 4 years or 3 years from now with another opportunity to try to find ways to fund a pension structure that is simply unsustainable. And so, members, just to give you a little bit of the details, this is a new hires after July 1st would be in this defined contribution plan. It will take a contribution up to 6% that would be matched by the employer. Employees can contribute to whatever they want, but the first 6% would be matched by the employer. And it also allows any current employee under the current pension plan to opt into the defined benefit or defined contribution plan if they wish. And so over time, this will reduce the obligation that we have, all the units of government have, to funding these pensions that are not going to be able to be sustained. And it will also reduce long-term the obligation that we have as a state. And so, members, I would urge you to support this. I'd like a roll call vote. Members, this is not going to be a short-term happy day for the legislature. We're not proposing by this to take away anything Senator Betzold's commission has done. We recognize that we are going to have an obligation, and we are saying here today we need to pay that. This isn't changing that obligation or that commitment to do that. But if we don't do this, 20 years from now or 25 years from now or whenever it was, Senator Betzold, that you were imagining, we are going to have a much bigger problem. There are going to be more employees who are going to be retiring. We are aging as a society. We are facing a demographic power curve that is not economically sustainable. There is no possible economic way that you can make these pension funds ever be solvent. We are just delaying the reckoning that will eventually happen. And the point I'm trying to make with this amendment, and I hope that the members will accept, is that we need to start today to say, let's put ourselves on a course that is economically sustainable. I agree with you, Senator Betzold, that there will be obligations that we will have to pay on the current pension holders. And we may have to do the same thing that we're doing here with your bill. We may have to do things like restructuring the benefits. We may have to do things like restructuring the contributions with those people in the pension funds. But we will have to do that anyway. And there will be more of them if we don't do this today. And so, members, this is a way to stop the bleeding that will go on forever into the future with this pension structure. It is time to do this. You can go around the country. Every state has got this problem. We saw what happened with the private pension funds, with the automobile industry. You look around the world, in Greece and other places in Europe where they are melting down because of unsustainable pension obligations, among other things. This is the time for us to do the right thing. This is not going to change anything in the Betzold bill except put us on a course for correction going into the future, and I urge your support.